6 o'clock, I'm calling Planning and Zoning Commission of 2019 to order. Planning Director, would you like to roll call?
Yes, sir. Hector Garcia.
Present.
Rolando Casares.
Present.
Mike Marron.
Present.
Manolo Zepeda.
Present.
Johnny Narvaez.
Present.
Eugene Wang.
Here.
Regina Portillo.
Here.
Daniela Salapaz.
Here.
Ana Villarreal.
Here.
For the record, we do have one.
I'd like to welcome all the new commissioners to the Planning and Zoning Commission. Would any of the new commissioners like to say a few words? You have the option to.
They're still in shock. Give them a couple of meetings and they'll talk.
Welcome you guys, and anything y'all need from here. Appreciate
Thank you. Can we all stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Are there any citizen comments?
No, sir.
The next item is election of officers. First item is election of chairman.
Mr. Chair, every year in October, we elect a new chairman and a vice chair. But the only way we can do that is if we have 100%. And for the last few months, we did not have 100%. So being that we do have 100% today, we'd ask that we hold an election for chairman. The first step would be to make nominations, that everybody nominate someone, and then we'll go to a vote.
Okay, so I'd like to open up nominations for election of chairman.
I would like to make a nomination for Mr. Johnny Narvaez to act as chairperson.
I'll second that.
Any other nominations? Can I have a vote?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, election for chairman passes.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Chairman.
All right, Johnny.
You did something. The next item is election of vice chairman.
Co-chairman. Who's the co-chairman prior?
It was Commissioner Dominguez, who's no longer
I know,
present.
but in seniority.
Dominguez.
So I'd like to make a nomination for Commissioner Salazar.
I'll second that.
Can I have, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, next agenda item is public hearing recommendation of an ordinance.
Congratulations, Vice Chair.
Congratulations. First item is amending the zoning ordinance map of the city of Laredo by authorizing the issuance of conditional use permit for a bar with video game center on lot 1, block 1, Alexander Ranch Millennia Professional Plaza, located at 2715 East Del Mar Boulevard, Unit A8.
So, Mr. Chairman,
Oh, yeah.
we do a rotation. You'll see for the new commissioners, we'll bring zone cases, and then you'll see a rotation, and then you'll see an agenda with a lot of plats on it. So today we have zone cases. What we do is we assign, in our office, we assign our planners the zone cases. So as they do the research and they prepare the packet, then we allow them to present the case to you on screen so that you can hear all the information. And then at that point, these are public hearings, so we would have to open the public hearing to hear anybody who's for this or against this item. And you can ask them questions or not. And then after that, we close the public hearing, and then we make a motion on the case. And then you vote however you feel. We do give a recommendation. Now, zone cases are a recommendation only. City council is the final say. So that is what you're doing here. You're not approving it, but you're giving a recommendation to take the council. And so I tell you that because sometimes, you know, the applicant feels like this was the last stop. It's not. They'll move on to city council. Typically, after this meeting, they'll go not to the next city council, but the one after that. So it takes 2 city council meetings to go to. That being said, I'll open it to my planners to go ahead and present.
Just a quick question.
Yes.
Do we have minutes to approve?
No, we do not.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. For the record, applicant is Ignacio Valdez, owner. Esteban Ortega is the applicant representative. Property description is lot 1, Block 1, Alexander Ranch, Millennia Professional Plaza, located at 2715 East Delmar Boulevard, Unit A8, 3,184.85 square feet. The zone change request, it's a conditional use permit. The proposed use is a bar with a video game center. Letters sent were 22. Inside the 200-foot radius was 4-0 against 6. Outside the 200-foot radius, 4-1 against 24. Location view. Aerial view. Street view. Change signage. Zoning overview. Featured land use. Staff recommendations, staff does not support the proposed conditional use permit. Proposed motion. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
This is a public hearing. Anyone who would like to speak in favor of this item, would you please come up?
Just since you're,
Jimenez again.
yes, he opened the public
Oh,
hearing. Go ahead, sir.
Good afternoon, Council. My name is Jesus Moreno. I am the co-owner of Level 2 Gaming, which is the site where we're proposing to change for the CUP. I just wanted to speak and kind of clarify what we're planning to do with the CUP exactly. I know the word bar is being used, but mainly what we are right now is a retail store. We're called Local Game Shop because we sell trading cards, Pokemon cards, Magic cards, Yu-Gi-Oh cards, collectibles, and comics. Being that, we also work directly with the makers of the games, so we are allowed to run sanctioned tournaments by the makers. So for example, if our players buy a deck of cards and they want to play against somebody else, they can, and if they win, they get special cards that they get nowhere else but a local game store. Our demographic is college students to adults, and they spend a lot of their weekends or weekdays with us just playing the game. So really our intended use for the permit is just having the option of selling them alcohol while they're there spending the night that they normally would anyways. The perfect description that I could give it is accommodating or enhancing the experience of going out for the people that prefer to stay in.
Oh,
Could you move this center to the other one?
I have a question for the applicant. How long have you been, are you guys already established there as a gaming?
Correct.
And the current business is called, is it LV2 or something?
Yeah, it's level 2. It's called LVL2.
And I'm sorry, how long did you say you've been already there?
At that current location, we've been there about 2 years, but in that plaza, we've been there 4 years.
And have you ever had any issues with the adjacent folks
None.
that are there?
None whatsoever.
And currently, the goal is to eventually, is it just beer or is it alcohol and beer as far as liquor?
It's alcohol and beer, what we're trying.
Have you had a chance to look at the conditions that the city was recommending to you guys?
Yes, absolutely.
And if that were the case, would you have any issues with those conditions?
No, none whatsoever. A lot of it was stuff that we never really planned on doing. For example, I believe there was one condition stating that we can't have outside music or anything that would vibrate. We already don't have music. A lot of we have a few arcade machines. A lot of those arcade machines really drown out, talk conversations, music, anything like that.
Yeah.
And the sound is really contained to the business itself.
I know that there were some hours of operation that the city was recommending to you guys. And I think it was like Monday through Friday from 5 p.m. to 11 p.m. And then Saturdays from 12 to 2 a.m. And then Sundays from 12 to 12 a.m. Would you have any issues maybe keeping the hours consistent to either 12 p.m. in the evening as far as for your liquor sales and not have to go all the way to 2 in the morning?
No, there's no issues. Our hours of operation currently and in the future are about what they recommended. It's owner managed. I don't have employees or anything of the like. so I want to go home by midnight.
Yeah. Okay, so possibly looking at maybe stop selling at 12 PM instead of going to 2 AM?
Yeah, absolutely.
You wouldn't have an issue with that?
No, none whatsoever.
Any other commissioners have any questions for?
Yes, I have a question. All your neighbors, where, are you where Posh is? In that
Yes.
center?
Yeah, at the very back. It's the very last unit in that plaza.
So the only issue that I see is that there's a kinder there, a daycare, I think it's Sunshine Daycare.
Mhm.
And then there's a program like Kumon also, that they have kids there from after hours, I think from 4, because I know because my kids go there, from 4 to around 9 every day. And there's a lot of traffic there with the kids. I think there was also a karate
place, yeah.
school, no? Right
Dance
next door.
studio.
Oh, well, the karate or the taekwondo center closed down.
Oh, closed.
Now it's a
Because of the
gym.
pandemic,
Yeah.
I don't know, but basically, the issues that I see is that there's a lot of traffic between those hours, and there's a lot of kids there too. But, that's my observation.
Yeah, I mean, we were very conscious about that, and that's why we tailored our hours for pretty much after everything. Kumon, for example, they only have, or they're only open, I believe, either Wednesdays or Thursdays. It's one day out of the week, and it's from 2 to 7. And on top of that, we don't really expect any sort of like alcohol sales before 8. Like I said, our demographic is college students and people that, teachers, people with established jobs. A lot of them, they get out at 5, they go home, shower, eat something, get ready, and they don't really show up to the shop to play games or anything till about 8 p.m. So it's mainly just like,
I have a question. Would you be the first business within that commercial plaza to sell alcohol?
no. Well, Posh sells beer.
Okay. And do you meet the parking requirements and the
Yes.
distance? Do they meet the distance?
The distance,
The
yeah.
DFC? And what are the comments? Because I see that there's a few people that have sent back some letters opposing. Can you guys give us just a brief summary of what kind of comments you've received?
So we received, we did a breakdown of the comments. So what happens is for any zone change, we send out letters to the surrounding property owners within 200 feet. So when we break this down, we break it down by those inside the 200 feet and those outside the 200 feet. So outside the 200 feet, we had 24 letters against. A lot of them were parents of children that go to the daycare, is my understanding. Within the 200 feet, we had 6, and I believe a couple are own some, I think these are condos. Yeah, they're all separately owned, and we have a couple of owners that called in not wanting it. One of them, and I forgot the name of it, and Roxy, I don't know if you can help me. Apparently, they have a contract that their facility can't be by a bar, is that?
Yes, for the record, Mr. Chairman, one of the comments regarding the online responses was that the tutoring center, Común, did mention that their franchise could not be around a bar. So that was one of the comments. That's something that we would have to do more research to look into to see if that's something that we have to consider whenever making the recommendation.
Would you have an issue with opening or selling this after 5 o'clock once the daycare closes?
Oh, no, that's like the idea to begin with. Like I said, it's owner managed, so I don't really plan to be there until at least 5 o'clock, maybe even later. But that's not a problem.
The only issue I have, staff, is that there are other conditional use permits along Del Mar. I know there's there's a brewery along Del Mar further down. There are other bars off of Del Mar that are either restaurant bars or bars, including a few suites down at Posh. The other thing is, we allowed a B4 across Clark Middle School just recently, a few meetings ago, and there was no issues then. So we just have to stay consistent on how we look at things. And, you know, because sometimes it doesn't seem like it's fair if we're allowing some but not others.
Well, if you look at it from a distance perspective, we've had one that was 70 feet from residential. This one is right across the parking lot from a daycare. The one in question that you're talking about, it didn't have that same distance issue that we're
There was an
talking
issue
about.
from property line to property line.
Property line to property line.
Yes.
But it doesn't, it wasn't, well, it was across the street, I know what you're saying. But it's a different issue there, but,
And that was straight up before. Here, the issue is it's a conditional use permit. You have control of the hours of operation and the time. And especially if we have to look at if there's any issues with legal, possibly maybe postponing until we get an answer on that before we take action on this.
I'd like to recognize Commissioner Portillo if you're, once you're done with your point.
okay, well, we'll get back to the legal.
I think also one of the really important roles that we play as commissioners is to look at our city's comprehensive plan, and specifically in this area, the plan does not recommend B4s, and I think we do need to recognize that it's a neighborhood mixed use. So I think having liquor specifically could be very harmful for the area. I also know that the daycare closes around 5:30, so after 5. So I think that's something to consider, especially as you mentioned the traffic and the in and out. I know that you're saying that you expect your customers to get there around 8, and that's kind of your base, but I think opening a bar at 5 p.m. right next to a daycare where parents are picking up, you know, their infants at 5:30 p.m., there's too much overlap, in my view.
Real quick, I think the same thing, you know, there's too many people against it in a neighborhood. You know exactly where it is. I think it'd be a safe environment to do it. So I would support this, following the recommendations of the PMD.
This is a public hearing, so we still have to hear fors, and if there's any more fors or against. Is anything else?
No.
All right. Is this public hearing, anybody else for this item?
And again,
Okay, how about anybody against this item? Please come up one at a time. You can come present yourself and you can,
What's the consensus as of now? Can we ask prior to maybe?
well, come up forward and state your name for the record, and then we can go from there.
Good evening.
Good evening. Your name for the record?
Cesario Porras for the record. We strongly oppose the beer, especially because there's no restaurant, there's no menu. Posh is different. Posh is 90% food and 10% liquor. That's a big difference. That follows the bylaws of B3. And that's why we chose B3. All of us is 18 units, and we're against it. Because of all the children, all the traffic, 6 o'clock, there's still a lot of people running around, picking kids, running around. So we strongly oppose this. What about people that come tipsy already to the place? That could be. And they're right at 5 o'clock coming in to drink some more and play. We're against it, strongly against it. And you can tell by the opposition that it doesn't belong there. It breaks our bylaws. You know, it violates our bylaws. So it's all wrong. This is the owner of, I'm alone. Owner of backup.
They ran.
She's the owner of Kumon.
Your name for the record, ma'am?
My name?
Yes, for the
My
record.
name is Monica Mendoza.
Okay.
And she is the owner of Sunshine.
Yes.
Hello, my name is Tania Galindo. I'm the owner of Sunshine. My place is just
Across.
right across where you are considering opening a bar.
The mic is the other.
Okay, sorry.
Oh,
Yes, so I'm just concerned about this because we open 7:30 in the morning. We close around
5:30, 6 p.m. So I have children the whole day, Monday through Friday. I mean, I've had seen, it's 5 p.m., there's a lot of traffic, and there's like people, I guess like parents or anything, they haven't had any consumed, right? I cannot imagine someone under-consumed with that traffic. Really, I have had some issues already. For me to open Sunshine there, the city of Laredo needs to approve it. How? Not being near a bar. This year, it's gonna be our 8th-year anniversary over there. I was considering opening another school, where Aquatots is. So I went to City of Laredo and told them, you know what, I wanna open a school over there, and they didn't allow me. Why? Because I don't know if you, are aware, Aquatots is at McPherson, near Average Joe's, it's a bar. And if you see that distance, it's even far than right now. So I don't know how City of Laredo is even considering opening a bar right across a daycare. There's a lot of children, and it's not just Sunshine. Right across me, there's a gym for like little girls. And no, there's no more Laredo Taekwondo, but right now, there's like a lot of like moms and a lot of girls go there and do exercise, and they're running around the Silver Leaf Plaza. So I think that is an issue. I do close at 6, and there's another place for a gym for kids. There's a lot of like kids going over there. I don't think that's I mean, I bought the place over there thinking this is gonna be a family place. I won't like a bar to be right across the school. And really, I don't know how City of Laredo is even consider adding it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Lo voy a decir en español porque me fluye más. Yo, como dueña de Kumon, entré a ese local, fui la primerita de entrar a ese local y le rentaba al señor Porras. Y una de los requisitos de mi franquicia, que me aprobaran donde yo me iba a instalar, tenía que ser un lugar donde en la plaza no hubiera venta de alcohol. Y bueno, pues yo era la primerita, con Mr. Porras hicimos un contrato donde no lo iba a rentar a personas o algún negocio, que fuera bar. Pasan los años, ya llevamos 13 años ahí, yo ya compré mi local y hemos ido comprando, entonces varios de los que estamos ahí, y todo ha fluido muy bonito a que es una plaza muy familiar, muy kid friendly. Tengo un estudio de baile de niñas al lado, tenemos un gimnasio de ejercicio de mamás, el kinder, o sea, una tienda de ropa de niños, la escuela de mi hija de gimnasia y de modelaje está enfrente. O sea, es una plaza donde, si se trata de planeación de la ciudad, pues no es estar en contra de ese tipo de negocio. Debe de haber otros lugares donde va a ser más apropiado este tipo de negocio. Aquí, en esta plaza, yo siento que no embona, y a largo plazo nosotros que le invertimos ya comprar nuestros locales ahí, pues no queremos que vaya a ser algo que nos pueda pues afectar. Yo abro lunes y jueves a las 3 y cierro a las 7:30. A veces son las 8 y sigo ahí. Mis niños que están esperando a sus papás tienen una banquita, a veces esperan afuera. O sea, hay mucho movimiento de niños que entran, salen y están ahí. Igualmente la clase de baile de niños que entran, niñas que entran y salen. Entonces, pues sí, no es algo que a mí me gustaría que se abriera.
I had a question. Have you guys had any issues with these tenants before? With the current, since it's been there 2 years, I'm wondering if there are any issues with the people that are playing games or cards or...
No, they have no beer. That's different.
But has there ever been an issue with these kids? No?
No, there's
No,
never been.
As far as parking, their parking, them showing up and all
I don't know
that?
about parking.
No issues with parking?
I don't know about parking because it's fit for the units that are there.
Right.
I don't know how many people this business would bring.
Right.
How many cars it would bring. So we don't know about parking.
The difference once that is considered, right?
el alcohol, el incluir el alcohol.
Because right now,
Okay.
the business is a gaming place where college kids go and play cards and hang out and
No
chat.
beer.
Right,
No liquor.
no liquor.
That's what we oppose strongly.
Right, but your business closes at 8, and the other business, what hours were they for the daycare? At 6. Thank you.
But there's people still running around,
Understood.
so we strongly urge you to vote against this ordinance.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Park.
Appreciate it. Thank you all.
Mr. Chairman, just a point of clarification. Anybody who has a property has a right to apply for a zone change. So it's not the city requesting this, it's the applicant, and we cannot deny them the opportunity to apply.
Correct.
So they can apply, so that's.
And they're not asking for a zone change, right, Mr. Navarro? They're asking for a conditional use permit.
Conditional use permit, and to your point, the restriction that we have in our ordinance is to the nearest R district, okay? And so, that's 300 feet. In this case, just to be fair to the applicant too, his bar is 575 feet from the nearest R district.
Our district,
So that's what we look at.
based on the property lines of property. Okay,
Thank you.
So the children don't matter.
No, I'm just answering his question. I think he wants to go legal on that.
Deal with you. I'm sorry, I'm under medication, so I'm a little nervous, a little jumpy.
Sir,
Too
you-
much.
Thank you, Mr.
Good to
Park.
see you, Mr. Porras.
Thank you.
Thank you. This is a public hearing. Anyone else would like to speak against this item? If not, what are the wishes of the commission?
Before we vote, can we have legal give us some guidance as far as problems with either recommending approval for this or not?
No, the recommendation either way would be fine. I mean, it's just the recommendation that's gonna go to council, so, it's pretty much squarely within y'all's jurisdiction to approve or deny.
You can make a motion to
Close the public hearing.
close the public hearing and deny the recommendation.
Is there a second?
Second.
Name? All in favor?
Aye.
All against? Motion passes. We're going to item 6B. This is a public hearing. A recommendation for amending the zoning ordinance of City of Laredo by rezoning approximately 6.79 acres situated in Porcion 45, Tomaso C. de Uribe, original grantee Dolores Garcia, entity, abstract 54, Webb County, Texas. Said 6.79 12 acres being out of Part 6 of the San Rafael Farm partition called to contain 302.177 acres as described and recorded in volume 555. Official public record of what County, Texas conveyed to Killer Ranch Properties, limited as per warranty deed recorded in volume 133, pages 298 to 299. Official public record of what County, Texas, located west of US Highway 83 and south of Modular Boulevard from R1 Single Family Residential District to B4 Highway Commercial District.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. For the record, applicant is Killam Ranch Properties LTD owner, Radcliffe Killam II is the applicant, Rolando Ortiz, PhD, is the representative. Property description is approximately 6.79 acres located west of US Highway 83 and south of Modular Boulevard. The zone change request is from an R1 to a B4, and the proposed use is a medical facility. Letter sent for 0 against 0. Location view. Aerial view. Street view. Zone change signage. Zoning overview. Future land use. Staff recommendations, staff supports the proposed zone change. Proposed motion. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. This is a public hearing. Anyone who wish to speak for this item? Please come up.
So, Mr. Chairman, what we have here is, this is a partnership between private sector and Webb County for a medical facility in this location. I think the engineers here question. He didn't want to come up, but.
Good evening, Chairman. Vince Martinez for the record, Representative Killen Ranch Properties, Killen Development, and we are for the development, for the zone change.
Any questions from the commission for the applicant?
Yes, you understand this is a collaboration between private and Webb County? So is this going to be, it's going to be a public facility or?
It's going to be for the county.
For the county.
To service the Rio Bravo, El Cenizo area.
Thank you. This is a public hearing. Anyone who wishes to speak against this item? If not, Mike,
Motion to close public hearing and go with staff recommendation.
Second?
all in favor?
Aye.
Against? Motion carries. Moving on to item 6C, amending the zoning ordinance of the city of Laredo by rezoning approximately 2.05 acres partitioned out of Lot 1, Block 1, Martinez Plat, recorded in volume 36, page 8 of County Map Records, located at 21314 FM 1472 Road from AG Agriculture to M1 Light Manufacturing District.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. For the record, we have applicant Terval LLC owner. We have Terra South Engineering as representative. Property location approximately 2.05 acres, located at 21314 FM 1472. We have the zone change request from an AG to an M1. Proposed use is warehousing. Letters sent to 6. We have none for and none against. Location view. Aerial view. Street view. Zone change signage. Zoning map. Future land use map. And the recommendation is staff supports. And the proposed motion.
Thank you. This is a public hearing. Anyone who wishes to come and speak in favor of this item?
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the commission. My name is Gilberto Gonzalez, Terra South Engineering, and we are in favor of the zone change.
Thank you. Any questions for the applicant? Thank you.
Just an update, Mr. Chairman, if one state. The subject property directly behind it, they went through the annexation process. So they just, yesterday was approved at council to annex the back part. So this whole property is going to, they're trying to come in with a complete M1 for both lots.
That's what I was gonna ask.
Okay. This is a public hearing. Anyone who wishes to speak against this item? If not, what are the wishes of the commission?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Got a motion from Commissioner Salas. All in favor?
Aye.
All against? Motion carries. Next item is item 6D, amending the zoning ordinance, map City of Laredo by rezoning lot 28 at Rancho Subdivision Unit 1 located at 4120 Pecan Circle Drive from R3 Mixed Residential District to B3 Community Business District.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. For the record, we have Jose A. Torres owner, and we have Teresa Santos representative. Property location, lot 28, El Rancho Subdivision, Unit 1, located at 4120 Pecan Circle Drive. We have a zone change from an R3 to B3. Proposed use is a retail center. Letters sent, we have 20, and we have none for and none against. Location view. Aerial view. Street view. Zone change signage. Zoning map. Future land use map. And the recommendation is staff supports. And the proposed motion.
Thank you. This is a public hearing. Anyone who wishes to speak for this item?
Good evening. Teresa Santos for the record. I'm here to support it. Do you have any questions?
Any questions for the applicant? Thank you. Lisa. This is a public hearing. Anyone who wishes to speak against this item? If not, what are the wishes of the commission?
I make a motion to close public hearing and support staff recommendation.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Against? Motion carries. Moving on to item 6E, amending the zoning ordinance map City of Laredo by rezoning lots 7, 8, 9, and 10, 11, and 12, block 908, Western Division, located at 1702, 1704, 1714, 1716, 1718, and 1720 Lafayette Street from R3 Mixed Residential District to B1 Limited Business District.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. For the record, we have the City of Laredo as the owner. We have Gateway Community Health Center as the applicant, and we have Elmo Lopez Jr. as the representative. Property location, lots 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12, block 908, Western Division, located at 1702, 1704, 1714, 1716, 1718, and 1720 Lafayette Street. Zone change is from an R3 to a B1. Proposed use is a health clinic. Letters sent were 37, and we have none for and none against. Location view. Aerial view. Street view. Zone change signage. Zoning map. Future land use map. And the recommendation is staff supports. And the proposed motion.
Thank you. This is a public hearing. Anyone who wishes to speak in favor of this item?
Mr. Chairman, Commission, staff, I'm Elmo Lopez Jr. From Gateway Community Health Center. We're a federally qualified health center, and we propose to build a state-of-the-art 5,000 square foot clinic on this city property, and we support the zone change for this purpose. The west side of Laredo is a medical desert, medical healthcare desert, and we believe this clinic is really going to help the community in West Laredo. Any questions?
I just want to comment that we really appreciate the efforts of Gateway for bringing medical services to the West End, which is of low resources and also with a high elderly population. So thank you so much for your work.
And that's why we're there. And also just to mention item B, we're part of that Webb County clinic. Not all of it, but we're going to be in there also to serve its needs. So we'd like to thank Mr. Navarro for all his help, Planning Zoning Didi Garcia, and all the commission for your support. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Lopez.
This is a public hearing. Anyone who wishes to speak against this item? If not, what are the wishes of the commission?
Motion to approve and support staff's comments.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Against? Motion carries. Item 6F, amending the zoning ordinance map of City of Laredo by rezoning approximately 2.58 acres, being all of the called Fernando Bruno tract described in warranty deed dated October 6, 1952, recorded volume 227, pages 187 to 188. Deed records, Webb County, Texas, situated in Porcion 28, Eugenio Martinez, heirs, original grantee, abstract 241 Webb County, Texas, located west of Balboa Loop and south of East Saunders Street from B3 Community Business District to B4 Highway Commercial District.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. For the record, applicant is Laredo Series, owner and applicant. Daniel Tejerina Jr., Cornerstone Land Use LLC is the representative. Property location is approximately 2.58 acres located west of Balboa Loop and south of East Saunders Street. The zone change request is from a B3 to a B4. The proposed use is outdoor RV sales. Letter sent 10-4-0 against 0. Location view. Aerial view. Street view. Zone change signage. Zoning overview. Featured land use. Staff recommendation, staff supports the proposed zone change. Proposed motion. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. This is a public hearing. Anyone who wishes to speak in favor of this item?
Mr. Chairman, members of the commission, Happy New Year, first of all. Danny Tijerina for the record, and I'm here to speak in favor of this item and answer any questions you may have.
Any questions from staff or from commission? Okay, just take it.
Thank you, sir.
This is a public hearing. Anyone who wishes to speak in favor of this item? Against this item? Anyone wishes to speak against this item? If not, what are the wishes of the commission?
Motion to close public hearing and go with staff recommendation. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Against? Motion carries. Item 6G, amending the zoning ordinance map of the city of Laredo by rezoning approximately 24.91 acres, being the surface only out of 85.07 acre tract, part of the remaining portion of 300 acres conveyed to Dolores Land Company Trust, recorded in volume 1406, page 437, official public record of Webb County, Texas, situated in survey 1462, abstract 502, Webb County, Texas, located west of FM 1472 Road and north of State Highway 255 from agriculture to M1 Light Manufacturing District.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. For the record, applicant is SKG Colombia LLC, owner. Bell Consulting LLC is the applicant and representative. Property location is approximately 24.91 acres located west of FM 1472 Road and north of State Highway 255. Zone change request is from an AG to an M1. Proposed use is light industrial. Letter sent 5. 4-0 against 0. Location view. Aerial view. Street view. Zone change signage. Zoning overview. Future land use. Overview. Proposed motion. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
So, Mr. Chairman, before you open up the public hearing, the initial recommendation that I had was to deny. One of the things in talking to the engineer was the fact that they were just going to do M1. And my concern out in Colombia is to try to create a city with commercial, and I wasn't looking for warehouse or warehouse storage of trailers right up against the highway. We're in need of some commercial spots, whether it be a gas station, a restaurant, something. We have tourists coming from Mexico. They drive a long way. And so we need some services. The warehouses there have employees. There's nowhere to eat. There's really nothing out there. So my concern with the development community and the engineers is try to push back some of the warehousing so we can maintain some of the frontage for commercial. So I talked this morning with the engineer. I talked to the developer. The developer is in fact dealing to put commercial on that corner. He understands the need, and he's committed to doing that. And so with that discussion, I'd like to change my position that I support this item along the lines to make sure that we could continue the commercial. So I just want to make that correction, and that's what I would be bringing forward.
Okay. Thank you. This is a public hearing. Anyone who wishes to speak in favor of this item?
Hello, Oscar Castillo for the record for Tewa Consulting. Hello, commissioners, chairman, staff. We are for the zone change and here to answer any questions that you may have.
Any questions for the applicant?
No, it was basically what I wanted to see was what you planned to build there. And with Orly expressing that maybe a truck stop or something like that might be better in that area because there's nothing there. So if people would cross from the Mexican side, okay, all the way, if they would go straight to 35,
Exactly.
right, they would still have to go 10 miles in, 10 miles out to go to the pilot or to put gas or anything. So I understand where Orly was coming from. So if you're planning to do something commercial, I don't think we would have to deny any of the zone change.
Real quick, is it in writing, the commitment to do that?
What's gonna happen is, so this is the zone.
When it comes back, is it gonna come back
He's
updated?
gonna come back with his plat. He
Okay.
still has a plat.
That's what I was gonna
So
say.
there's still a process he has to go through, so
Okay.
we still have checks and balances.
Thank you.
Oh.
This is a public hearing. Anyone who wishes to speak against this item? If not, what are the wishes of the commission?
Motion to close public hearing and go with staff recommendation, which is the approval of the M1.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Against? Motion carries. Item 6H.
So, Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
We just finished the zone cases. Now, what we have next is, if ever the city wants to change the ordinance, the land development code or our subdivision ordinance, those changes have to be presented to Planning and Zoning Commission before it goes to City Council. So today we do have two changes to the ordinance. I'll let Amber speak it, yes. I'll let her talk about it, but you're seeing two items today that are making changes to our land development code. And so I will let her.
Hello, Amber Holmes from the legal department. And I brought up with me the director from economic development because this is something we've been working on together. So this came about because the city of Laredo implemented a temporary parklet ordinance for COVID purposes to allow restaurants to have more outdoor seating. But it was temporary. The council members would like to make it permanent, so they tasked me with trying to make that a permanent ordinance, but making it more complete. And so we did a lot of research into other cities and how they work their parklet ordinances. And just to kind of describe what a parklet is, it's basically a sidewalk cafe, but it might be in a parking space that's on a public road that has a little bit of an enclosure to make sure for safety purposes. But it's very similar to what a sidewalk cafe is. And so when I was going through the other cities and the other ordinances, those two ordinances were always together, the parklets and the sidewalk cafes, because the permitting process is pretty much exactly the same. And right now, the city of Laredo has the sidewalk cafe in the land development code, but they have the parklet ordinance in the regular municipal code. I would like to combine them just because they're so similar and they require the same permitting process that it just makes sense to put them together. Like all of the other cities that have parklet ordinances, they have them together. So I did rewrite the ordinance to include both sidewalk cafes and parklets, but I would like to move them to the regular municipal code to put them in Chapter 18 for licenses, permits, and miscellaneous business regulations. It feels like it makes sense. That's where the parklet ordinance would go. So I want to bring the sidewalk cafe into that ordinance so that they're together. And right now, Chapter 18 deals with like all of those permitting processes, but specifically health permits for food and beverage businesses and mobile businesses like food trucks. So again, a person who's looking to see how to accomplish getting a parklet or a sidewalk cafe, you would find all of those permitting processes in the same place. And so I don't want to remove it yet though, because we haven't approved the ordinance in the municipal code. So it's kind of hard to figure out how to put which one's the cart and which one's the horse, because I don't want to remove it from the land development code before we have a finalized code provision.
I have a question, Mr. Chairman. Do any businesses currently hold a sidewalk cafe permit?
I think, go ahead.
Good afternoon. For the record, Miriam Castillo, Interim Director for the Economic Development Department. Congratulations to the newly appointed commissioners. Good evening, staff as well. As far as the parklets, there's about 8 active permits, applications. The Sidewalk Cafe, it's a new addition that we want to, the Economic Development Department has been working to put together a set of incentives for downtown and inner city revitalization. So the Sidewalk Cafe, and we have the building director here as well, it's a component that we really want to capitalize on by combining it with the parklets and really have like a la carte menu for investors. I will let, there's one Sidewalk Cafe that I know of, but I will let the expert give you the.
John Hickle, Building Services Director. We currently have 2 ordinances, the parklet and we have the Sidewalk Cafe. When we looked at the Sidewalk Cafe, what's in there, it requires a 10-foot wide sidewalk. So we're trying to get it adjusted and bring it all together and clean up the ordinances. To answer your question, really the answer would be 0. I think it's been around since 2012 or 2013 and it doesn't get any use. So we're just trying to make it useful for the citizens of Laredo. So.
Thank you. Much needed revisions. I think Laredo has a great opportunity to truly enjoy our weather. We have like, what, 300 days of great weather, of sunshine. So thank you for working on this. I'm excited. You're welcome.
And really just to add, that's one of the main goals, you know, in working with the planning and zoning department, with the building department, and obviously with the assistance and the expertise of the legal department, because we want to make this as, you know, usable and a tool that, you know, can be used more for Laredo, and that's why the request and the necessary changes as far as where each ordinance is in the different codes.
And one more question related to, I guess, the geographic boundaries, because I see the Sidewalk Cafe is specific to the Arts and Entertainment District. Is the plan to have the new ordinance just specific to downtown, the A&E district, or what is the plan?
The new ordinance would open it up to all of Laredo, so that it would mostly focus on downtown because, especially with the parklets, if you're using parking spaces that are right-of-way, they're not private property, you're probably going to be downtown. There's not a lot of public parking spaces that are outside of downtown. It's a lot of private, but we are opening it up so that if there is a space that would become available that somebody wanted to put in a parklet, as long as it met the safety requirements, that it could be expanded through the rest of Laredo. Thank you.
Do you have any examples of a use that in other cities that may be that way, that use that space?
If you've ever been to the Domain in Austin, is probably the best example that people here might have experience with. You have a lot of businesses that have diagonal parking spaces right in front of those businesses, which is kind of like what we have downtown, but ours are not diagonal, they're next to, sorry.
Parallel.
Parallel, thank you. To those businesses, but the Domain would be a prime example because it's basically like a removable structure that's taking up that parking space, and it is used for seating and for eating, for dining purposes, but they block off that space, and so it's no longer a parking spot. So most of the time, it's about the size of 1 to 2 parking spaces.
Thank you. Thank you. So at this point,
So now we would ask for a motion to either recommend or deny. You can add input, as you did, ask questions. That's just to help Amber so that she has input from you all so she can work on it. And then the next step is we'll be taking this to council, to present it to council.
thank you.
And I can provide, we're getting close to the finalized version of what we'd like to present to council, so that can be provided to you all as well to see before we present it to council. But it is kind of they're really pushing for it, so ASAP is better.
Make a motion to approve or to recommend to council?
Second.
Go ahead.
Thank you. As one final comment, I do want to acknowledge the collaborative work that's been put together, with Mr. Orlando, the Planning and Zoning Department, the Building Department, because it's something that I think it's long overdue and that we're looking into. And it has, there's been a lot of research, and rest assured that a lot of the, all the technicalities as to the parking spaces and the sidewalk, requirements and everything is being taken into account.
It's a great idea for the community as a whole, but especially for the downtown merchants, so it's a very good idea. Thank you.
So we do have a motion on the table in a second, so all in favor?
Aye.
Against? Motion carries. Item 6I. Want me to read out so item 6I is amending the City of Laredo subdivision ordinance, section 2-1, to exempt tracts of land within the extraterritorial jurisdiction of the City of Laredo that are used exclusively by a public utility service provider for the delivery of a public utility service from the plating requirements of the subdivision ordinance of the City of Laredo, providing that this ordinance shall be cumulative, providing a severability clause, providing for publication and effective date.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. For the record, Rafael Vidaurri, the Planning Department. Just to give a little background on this item. So what we're seeing here in the Planning Department and the county as well, I mean, they're experiencing tremendous growth, and we're starting to see a lot of the utilities are trying to be proactive to select specific tracts of land in the ETJ in anticipation of that future growth. So what happens is that in some of those areas, a plat is required by the city, but yet not by the county. So we want to come up with a similar situation or a similar amendment to what the county has. So this would be an area that's outside the city limits, the ETJ of the City of Laredo extraterritorial jurisdiction. So this is the 5-mile boundary outside the city limits. Just for points of reference, we're looking at a little south of San Juan Road on 83, down to the Rancho Blanco tract, south of El Cenizo, Eagle Pass Road past the Chapota Mesa Road on the county, and lastly, Pescadito Road and Lobo Creek on 359. And these are just some samples of public utility tracts. We would have water tanks, water towers, as well as distribution centers for electricity, solar farms. The county's starting to see also some solar farm development out in the ETJ and the rural areas. So some of the statutory authority given to the cities and counties for this. So under 212-0045, it grants the authority of the county to the cities to classify the divisions when a plat is and is not required. The same, similar is 232.0015 on the county side. And just for, I just want to make a note, under 242.001A and 242.001H, exempt cities and counties within 50 miles of the international border from having to enter into interlocal agreement as to who will govern the ETJ. So back in 2013, the Texas legislature amended this specific chapter 242 that mandated that cities away from the international border would have to enter into interlocal agreements to who would govern the platting in the ETJ area. What makes Webb County, as well as the other counties on the 50-mile international border zone, is the model rules which make certain subdivision developments criminal. So that's the county has a little bit more enforcement on that side. This is an excerpt from the county subdivision regulations under their platting exemptions where they have specifically identified tracts of this use. This is a sample certificate taken to commission, recently issued by Commissioners Court to AEP for a tract out in the ETJ that they're planning to develop for a substation. Now you also have the option of doing a certificate of no plat certificate that does get placed on the face of the plat and gets recorded with the county clerk as well. So you have the two options, the certificate like this or the full plat.
Can you go back?
Yes.
I barely noticed that we could change so we could see it.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
To the B.
Okay. Should I go back or?
Yes, go back.
Okay.
So this, the front.
Okay.
The certificate, the first certificate with the signatures.
Yeah, so this is a sample of what the county does. This is their sample, this is their certificate. So this went to Commissioners Court actually last week, and this was given to AEP.
Okay.
But in this particular criteria, they would have to come plat with us.
And then the second one,
The second one is there is the option of
And they
the
have
engineer
to-
preparing a plat, and those certificates can go on the face of the plat, the county certificate as well as the city certificate.
okay.
So there's those options.
Yeah.
Okay? This is the text of the existing ordinance, and we're planning to add subsection F, which reads verbatim with the counties, except at the end it says, "A determination made under this section shall require the issuance of certificate of no plat required as defined in the Laredo Land Development Code." And here's the excerpt from the Land Development Code is how it reads.
This is just to clear up some things, because sometimes we have an energy company that will go to the county will give them a certificate of no plat, so they can go forward. But being in the HEJ, they have to come to us, and then we have to tell them, you have to plat. And then they have to go through this whole process. So we're trying to be consistent with the county so that we can, allow our electric companies to advance and put power out there, or whatever other utilities, even the city of Laredo utilities. They'll be able to do their work without having going through a 2-month process to plat.
Now, this is the proposed motion, and since this is an amendment to the subdivision ordinance, it actually requires that this public hearing be recessed and then be brought back at the next meeting. So you wouldn't take any action today, but since it's a public hearing, I don't know if the engineers want to chime in on this one.
Good morning, guys.
So again, we just want to have some parity with the county on this item.
So we would we would just postpone it, or?
We just postpone it. We have to have the public hearing today,
Okay.
then come back at the next, after bring it back at the next meeting, and then from there, you'll make your recommendation to the city council.
So if you can open public hearing and close, table time certain, and then we'll,
All right, good. And I'll go ahead and open public hearing, and then ask for
Motion?
anyone to favor or against for technicality, and then, of course, a motion.
Motion to postpone the item, time certain.
Second.
Second from Commissioner Menendez Paz. All in favor?
Aye.
Against? Motion carries. Now, what we have next are review and consideration of the following master plans. Do you want to give a little description of what we're going to do here, or?
So, in the process of planning property, we ask for a master plan, and the master plan helps for the city to understand what's going to be developed, and then the engineer usually visits with utilities and all the different departments to make sure that we can service that property. So he provides that. Once they have a master plan, if it's big enough, they'll split it into phases, and then they'll come in and work the phases. And we use the master plan as the guide so that they can do this work. Once you approve a master plan, they get vested as of the day that you approve it. What does that mean? That means that as long as they're maintaining that master plan and developing on schedule like they're supposed to, any new laws that come in, they don't have to worry about that because they're vested into the year that they did it. Now, if there is a pause in their development for
6 months, 36 months.
36 months, they could lose their master plan, and then they'll lose their vested rights. And then that's when new laws that might have come out kick in, and they would have to oblige by that. So today we have 2 master plans being presented to you. The first one, I don't know if, Amanda, do you have a presentation for that? Okay, go.
So we're opening up item 7A, review the revision to the Char Ranch East and West Master Plan. The intent is residential, commercial, industrial. The purpose of this revision to change land uses.
Yes, for the record, Mr. Chairman, applicant is Verde Corp Corporation, engineer is Porras Nance Engineering. The proposed use is residential, commercial, and industrial. The zoning for this 8,250 lot development is M1, B1, R2, R1, R1A, R1B, R1MH, and AG. The purpose for this revision is to change the land uses. This is the location view, aerial view, and this is an aerial view with the revision of the master plan. It's an overlay. The proposed master plan. Comments from planning? Traffic safety? Parks and leisure? And the proposed motion.
Could you go back to the master plan? So just to get familiar with what this is the Achar Ranch. And you'll see on the left-hand side, you'll see what is green subdivision in white. And there's a white road that cuts across, and that's Achar Rusinger. That's the road that everybody's talking about us putting in the future. And on the right-hand side, you'll see I-35, and if you've driven I-35, you've seen some activity of clearing over there. There's some warehouses out in that area. That's what you're looking at there.
Hello, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners. Wayne Nance with Porras Engineering. We reviewed all the comments and we agree with all the comments that they have for this master plan. I'm here to answer any questions you might have.
Any questions for the engineer?
Thank you.
If so, what are the wishes of the commission?
Motion to approve, subject to comment.
Do I have a second? Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Against? Motion carries. Now moving on to item 7B, review and consideration of North Webb Industrial Park Master Plan. The intent is industrial.
Those are open.
For the record, applicant is Itara, engineer is Howland Engineering and Surveying Company. Proposed use is industrial, and the zoning for this 57 lot development is M1. Location view, aerial view, proposed master plan, comments from planning, fire, water, and utilities, and the proposed motion.
Good evening, Miguel Jimenez with Howland Engineering representing our client. Good evening, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners. We concur with comments and here to answer any questions you may have.
Questions for the engineer?
When do you foresee the first phase going up, or is that already gone?
Sorry, this is a master plan revision. The first phase is already constructed.
So everything in gray's already been, oh, anyways.
A copy of it, if we can put it up, I can.
So phase one's already been?
Yeah,
built
phase
out?
1 and 2 has already been constructed, platted. I mean, there's warehouses there. Here we go.
Are the others already contracted as far as the other?
Yes.
The future ones?
Yes, sorry about that. So the yellow, the kind of yellow and orange we here have been constructed. That's phase 1 and 2. Right now, we're under construction for the yellow phase and the pink phase. And it's pretty much about to be completed. The reason we're submitting this revision is because we separated the yellow and the pink. It used to be one single phase. We separated just because construction purposes, one's going to be ready than the other, so we want to go ahead and record one before the other. So that's the reason we split, and then our next phase is going to be phase 4. That's going to connect to the Achar roadway, right, that was shown in the other master plan.
Thank you.
Thank you. So just so that you know, he takes this master plan, he submits it to the one-stop shop. All the departments get a chance to look at it. They'll make their comments, and that's what you see on the comment sheet. And the engineer receives that, and that's where he's coming up to say whether he agrees with those comments or not. And if you all approve it, then he can move on. His master plan gets approved. He makes those changes, and then he can move forward with his development.
Thank you. Thank you. What are the wishes of the commission?
Motion to approve, subject to comments.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Against? Motion carries. Now going to Section A, consideration of the following preliminary plats and preliminary replats. We have item 8A.
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
Go ahead.
For the record, applicant is FM Investments. Kurt Haas is president. Engineer is Gilpin Engineering Company. The proposed use is industrial. The zoning for this development is AG and M1. Location view. Aerial view. Street view. Proposed Unit 13 base. Comments from planning. Fire, water, and utilities. And the proposed motion.
Can you go back to the aerial? No. Where is it? ¿Dónde está la flecha?
So in this case, Mr. Gilpin already came forward with his master plan, so that was approved. So now he's coming in with a phase. So the first step is preliminary. He'll come in, what would you say the percentage of the project, I mean, how much for preliminary, 30% done?
This preliminary would be, I think about that in a minute, it's about 170 acres out of 700 acres, so about 30%, sounds about right.
So he's bringing this concept to the city, and the city's looking at it a little bit higher out. You know, they're looking at the utilities part of this, and it's general questions. He'll work on that, and then he'll come back, go to the one-stop shop. He'll go through that process, and by the time he comes back, the next time he comes back, he'll be coming with a final. But by that time, he has a lot more information. He's already designed, he's already done the utilities part of it, the roads. All the departments have to go over this with him. It could take him anywhere from, I mean, heck, 170 acres. It could take a while. But this is the preliminary concept that he's bringing in. Am I saying that right? I mean, just to help out.
It's at this point, we're just trying to get an agreement on how to begin designing it, so how it's laid out. So the plan that you see there in y'all's package is, there's a lot of design work that goes into going with that plan. So we have a long time to go and a lot of approvals to get with the departments. There's 5 letters we have to get from 5 respective departments to get to the technical details. And that's just the layout. And the road you see in the middle, I have a hard time pointing it from over here, but I don't have a little control. Maybe you can point at it, Orly. There's a road in the middle on the plat. That road is lined up with a TxDOT plan for another road on the other side of FM 1472. And that's the road called the Endless Road. So they're rearranging that alignment to line up with, see right now, the Endless Road comes in. If you can see it, it comes in at a kind of a hard angle to Mines Road, which they don't like, and they want to improve that angle. So right there where it says Intercon carries LC, that little road, they're going to aim it at that road. They're like Savannah from the old game show, right?
Eliminate this and bring it this.
So I might point it at myself.
It's different from what's in the agenda. Their package.
Yeah, how do you get into
Our main road.
There's a B button.
Been a while.
This road right here.
I know.
Is an old ranch road. And we happen to be working on that as the Boulevard project all through here. This is a bunch of land that's not developed yet. And this road, they don't like this at TxDOT. It's a little bit not good for the way traffic works. So they're gonna turn it and come right here. So we have that in our plan. We've gotten that information. And there's comments on the comments you have there that indicate that we have to comply with that. So
That road.
that road, it's the Endless Road.
The Endless.
So there's a comment there that indicates we have to line up with the Endless Road. And really all of our development has been like that. We've got major TxDOT roads that we're adjusting our alignments to, and all the comments have been the same throughout, and we agree with those comments.
So now that he has those comments, now he can go to the, sit down and start working on the design, because he's gotten most of, so that's what's happening with preliminary. They're giving information to the engineer so he can go back and do his work.
Mr. Gilpin, I know they mentioned here that you got a zoning of M1 and AG. Is that going to be looked at later, or in your later phases? The agriculture zoning?
Does it have AG on it all?
It does.
I didn't realize it did. We're all in one. I think, does it say something about AG as well?
It says AG and M1.
Trying to think about what that would be. We are currently AG, but I think on this unit, we wouldn't have any AG. It's M1. It's right there on the highway. So I don't know why it says AG. I didn't notice that in the comments.
Currently it's AG.
It may be from
Because of the third floor plan.
It certainly is AG currently, so maybe it's AG to M1.
And M1.
Maybe it's your portion of it still.
So I agree with all the comments except for a couple of the comments from utilities. And it's not that we're completely disagreeable to the comments, but they're a little bit restrictive to what we have to do next, which is the one-stop shop. And we also have to deal with TxDOT a lot on the project. So if y'all could assist me with getting the comments back there from utilities, I'll point out the comments that I'd like to change the wording to just a little bit so that we don't have to come back and ask you to agree with changes in those comments. I think you would agree with them right now. That one's good. Okay, on this one here, number 2 there, what is overly specific for where we're at with you guys. We have to go to one-stop shop and go through all the details of how to design this thing. So we can't really agree where it says to be 8 to 10 inches, the tail end of the second sentence. We couldn't really agree with that because that would be, as far as my judgment and experience tells me, that's not the right answer. But we have to go through there and get answers with them. So what I would suggest on number 2 is instead of having it say so specifically that we say where it says there requires on the second line of number 2, may require. If it requires it, we'll do it. And then on number 4, we would have that conditioned upon that line that they're referring to. It's a water line that already exists there, and they want to treat it a certain way, and they're very specific here. And we just need to have it say in agreement with TxDOT. It's on the TxDOT right away. So we'll do whatever both parties agree to. But this is a little specific. So TxDOT doesn't tend to agree with the city oftentimes. Those 2, we'd like to change them a little bit.
So just for clarification, you're on comment number 2, you would just like to add may if it's
May
needed.
require.
May require.
May require, right? And then on the 4th comment, you'd like to remove the comment and just put as required by TxDOT?
That would be good. That would be fine. Yeah.
Orly?
We're fine with that because at the end of the day, TxDOT's going to be the final say when it comes to that. And you wouldn't be able to move forward. And as far as number 2, it's all based on calculation. So utilities will determine. It could be more, it could be less. So if we were to lock this in, he could actually go back and say, no, it's more, but TNZ told me I can do this size and that's it. So.
Is there anyone here from utilities?
No, he didn't. I saw him before the meeting. He wasn't, he left. I gave him permiso.
There you go.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Gilpin.
Thank you.
What are the wishes of the commission?
I think to approve with the changes that were made, subject to the comments.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Second from Commissioner Alonso.
A second and a third and a fourth.
All in favor?
Aye.
Against? Motion carries. We're now moving to section 9, consideration of the following final plats and final replats. We have section 9A, final consideration of plat of lot 1 and 2, block 1, the codes at Winfield Phase 3. The tent is institutional.
So just to let you know a little bit about this before we go on, and this is a final plat, so you just saw a preliminary plat. This one, after the engineer answers all the questions that the city has, we ask the departments to submit letters if they have any more issues. Once the famous letters that all the engineers know about, once they get them back and there's no comments, that means that the engineer has complied with all city ordinances. So what you'll see is, you'll see this sheet comes in, it says approval, and then there's no comments. What you saw on the other one with Mr. Gilpin, there was a bunch of comments, so he has to answer all those. Here, we do not put this on the agenda until my department receives the clearance that they've met all the ordinances with all departments. They send us those letters, and with that, we'll put them on the agenda. And there's really not much to do other than the formality of approving it. And by state law, if you did not approve this, in 30 days it gets approved because they've already met the city guidelines. So it's more of a formality, but believe me, the engineers go through a lot to get to this point. So yeah, this is kind of where he can relax once this is done. But we have to go through P&Z to get the final approval. So that's what you see here. Okay. And you couldn't necessarily get into any new topics because it's final.
You checked off all the boxes.
He checked off all the boxes, and he's here just to get your approval.
Just to add, it also means this doesn't go to council compared to so many cases that they do go to council. So this is a final point for platting.
So Mr. Gilpin's preliminary plat does not go to council. You are the guys that are going to see those plats. So I know that our new commissioners, you haven't seen the binder, so you don't see that. But in the future, you'll be seeing that, so you'll see roads, you'll be able to read the comments, you'll be able to ask questions and change some, or add comments, take out comments, but you're the final say for that. And so once you approve this, they will bring what's called the Mylar to the engineering department, then signatures will be signed. The chairman will be signing the plat. Then I sign it, I'm the last one to sign it, and then the planning department goes to the county and re-record it. And that's final. It's a final plat that's been recorded, and they're ready to sell the property if they want to sell the property. And it's officially a platted property. So, and that stops here. That's the importance of P&Z. You guys are the final say. Zone cases, they go to council, but plats stop here. So just to let you know, you might get calls from engineers to talk about their plats, maybe, but you are the final say. So that's the importance of the Planning and Zoning Commission. Did I miss anything?
No.
Okay.
So for the record, applicant is Charcoal Land Sales. The engineer is Seca Engineering. The proposed use is institutional, and the zoning for this two-lot development is R1. Location view. Aerial view. Street view. The proposed plat. And the proposed motion.
Thank you. So can I have a motion of action?
I motion to approve this item.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Against? Motion carries. Do you have any
Right before
comments?
we adjourn?
Yeah.
One last thing to introduce everybody. Vanessa Guerra is the assistant director, and she is in charge of the office, and she is in charge of the zone cases. She oversees all the zone cases. She goes through the ordinances, and she puts it together for us. Laura Garza back there, Didi Garcia just left. They are the planners that work on zone cases right now. And then you have Luis Vasquez and Amanda Brunella. They're the other two planners, and they work on plats. So right now, the way the training is going, two planners are focused only on plats. The other two are only on zone cases, and then they'll be switching so that they can get fully trained. So that's the process we're doing. Rafa Vidauri is our lead planner, and he's in charge of plats, and he works with that's his team right there. So that's why they swapped out, because these are the plat planners, and then the other two are the zone planners. So just so that you know, everybody, David Arredondo is our legal help, and he's specific to the planning department. So if you have any legal questions, David is who you would go to, and that's the staff.
Mr. Dominguez?
Oh, I'm sorry. Herrera back there is the planning, she's the parks planning administrator, I guess. I don't know the title, but she's the, but she comes from the Austin area, so she brings a lot of creative ideas when it comes to parks and stuff like that. So it's really nice to have her on board. And then Chief, I gave you a promotion. Yeah, Chief Dominguez, you'll see him at all our meetings. He hasn't missed a meeting. He's here. And if you have any fire questions, because a lot of times there's some issues with fire, if you ever want to ask questions, he's here to answer those questions on residential and commercial. Okay, on both. And that's the team. So if I don't answer, they're here to answer.
You never answer. You never answer. Orly, just real quick, I know we had talked about before the break, maybe some conferences coming up for the commission. Start looking into that I would recommend, and then possibly start forming some subcommittees to tackle on the plans, you know, as far as comprehensive. I know comprehensive plan we had talked about, you foresee some changes to the way things are going. I know it was brought up earlier as far as following the comprehensive plan and what's that about. So if we're gonna tackle that, maybe forming a subcommittee to start looking at.
We have some changes to the comprehensive plan we'll be presenting to you all, so that we can take it to council. And at that time, we'll do a more in-depth look at the comprehensive plan so that you all can get familiar with it. Some people might be more familiar than others, but we'll definitely do that because that is a big project.
I think there's some pretty neat conferences out there that I think that would be beneficial to the commission.
There is. We have the state conference. We also have the national conference. It's all budget. So city management would have to, approve the budget. And we rotate. We just basically rotate. We start with seniority and then we work our way.
To add on that, there's also other opportunities that are more affordable, like the Southwest chapter of the APA is gonna have a mini conference next week. And it's really neat because it's just one panel discussion every day during lunch, like a lunch and learn. I believe it's like $30, so it's fairly affordable. So if y'all have a chance to register, I think it's a good opportunity to start to see what topics are trending in Texas and how different cities are handling these issues.
Yeah, so there are, on computer, there's different ones. We also have the state convention. The next one will be in Corpus Christi, so we're hoping to get everybody to go to that one since it's nearby. So that would be nice. And then the open meetings, there's a training that everybody must take. So that's on the computer. You take it, you get certified, and I believe they submit it to legal, or do we just, we might just put it in our phones. City Secretary. So there's that training that has to be done. So please keep in mind we follow Robert's Rules of Order, and we also, the Open Meetings Act does apply to all of you. So be careful with that. You can't be all together. You can't be polling. I don't want to go into it because I don't know the full video, but we are definitely going to have each of you do the video. Okay, and then those of you who haven't done orientation, we'll be bringing you all in, hopefully with your councilman or mayor, so that you can kind of go over the orientation and ask questions and slowly begin to get involved in the meetings. So I don't know if there's any questions when it comes to that, but so it'll be fun.
Just the ladies and the men. Estaría padre una foto.
Because we're all here too.
I was thinking of doing that. If you all are willing, I would love to coordinate a picture of all of you, and we can coordinate that. We all dress up and everything, and we'll do it. But I'll let you know.
We should do one right now.
Right now,
If you have
We may not get all that. It's set up.
first meeting of the.
Why not?
Then-
Why not? Estamos todos.
Chairman, do you want to do that?
Let's do it.
All right. Why don't we adjourn?
Can I get a motion to adjourn the meeting?
I move to adjourn this meeting.
Can I get a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion adjourned, meeting adjourned.